In the year 2135, the United Earth Alliance, UEA, stood as a beacon of hope and unity amidst the vast expanse of the galaxy. Humans had forged alliances with countless alien species, establishing colonies on distant worlds and fostering a fragile peace. Yet this peace was often threatened by rogue factions, pirates, and mercenaries who sought to disrupt the delicate balance. Among these threats, none were more feared than the Xanthari Marauders. The Xanthari Marauders were a notorious group of alien mercenaries known for their ruthless tactics and advanced weaponry. Their leader, Korath, was a towering figure with green-scaled skin and piercing yellow eyes. His second-in-command, Lurka, was a lithe and cunning alien with sharp claws and a menacing grin. Together, they had terrorized the fringes of UEA-controlled space, striking fear into the hearts of colonists and traders alike. The UEA, determined to protect its citizens and maintain order, responded by deploying their most elite soldiers, the Human Special Operations Units, HSOU. These units were renowned for their rigorous training, cutting-edge technology, and unwavering resolve. Leading them was Captain Sarah Mitchell, a decorated officer with a reputation for turning the tide of even the most desperate battles. The latest crisis unfolded on the planet Theon, a lush, resource-rich world critical to the UEA's strategic interests. Reports had surfaced that the Xanthari Marauders were planning a major assault on the planet, aiming to seize its valuable resources and establish a foothold in UEA space. The UEA could not afford to lose Theron 5, and so the HSOU was dispatched to intercept the threat. As the HSOU dropships descended through the atmosphere, Captain Mitchell stood at the forefront, her sharp blue eyes scanning the horizon. She was flanked by her trusted lieutenants, Jake Harris and Elena Vasquez, both seasoned soldiers with years of combat experience. "We've got a job to do, people," Mitchell said, her voice calm but authoritative. "The Xanthari Marauders have been terrorizing this planet for too long. It's time to show them what we're made of." The soldiers responded with a unified, "Yes, ma'am," as they disembarked and began setting up their base of operations. The HSOU was well equipped with state-of-the-art technology, including drones, surveillance systems, and automated defense turrets. They quickly established a perimeter and began gathering intelligence on the Xanthari's movements. Meanwhile, deep within the dense forests of Theron Fef, Korath and Lurka were preparing for their next attack. Korath was confident that his forces could easily overpower the human defenders. He had heard stories of human soldiers, but he believed them to be nothing more than exaggerated myths. "These humans are weak," Korath growled to Lurka, his voice dripping with disdain. "We'll crush them and take what we want." Lurka nodded, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. "They won't know what hit them." As night fell, the HSOU soldiers remained vigilant. Captain Mitchell and her team gathered in the command tent, reviewing the latest intelligence reports and planning their next move. "According to our scouts, the Xanthari are holed up in a series of underground bunkers in the eastern quadrant," Mitchell said, pointing to a holographic map. "We'll launch a surprise attack at dawn and catch them off guard." Lieutenant Harris, a strategic genius with a keen eye for detail, nodded in agreement. "We'll need to move fast and hit them hard. If we can take out their leadership, the rest will fall apart." The team finalized their plans, aware of the high stakes. Failure was not an option. As dawn broke over the horizon, the HSOU soldiers moved into position, guided by the latest intelligence and their advanced reconnaissance drones. The element of surprise was crucial, and they intended to make every second count. Captain Mitchell signaled for her team to hold their positions as they prepared to launch their assault. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the battle ahead. "On my mark, we move in. Remember, our priority is to take out their leadership and minimize civilian casualties." The soldiers nodded, their faces set with determination. With a swift motion, Mitchell gave the order, and the HSOU forces sprang into action. The initial attack was swift and brutal. The HSOU soldiers, with their advanced weaponry and combat training, quickly overwhelmed the outer defenses of the Xanthari bunkers. Explosions rocked the ground as the humans advanced, their precision and coordination leaving the Xanthari scrambling to respond. Inside the main bunker, Korath and Lurka were caught off guard by the sudden assault. Alarms blared as they tried to organize their forces, but it was clear that the humans had the upper hand. Korath snarled in frustration, slamming his fist into the control panel. How did they find us so quickly? Lurka's eyes narrowed as she studied the security footage. They must have had help. We underestimated them. As the battle raged on, Captain Mitchell and her team infiltrated the main bunker, their movements swift and silent. They encountered heavy resistance, but their training and superior technology allowed them to push through. Mitchell led the charge, her pulse rifle cutting down any Zenthari who stood in her way. She could see the fear in their eyes as they realized the true extent of the human threat. These were not the weak, disorganized soldiers they had expected. These were highly trained and deadly operatives. Finally, they reached the command center, where Korath and Lurka were making their last stand. Mitchell raised her rifle, her gaze locking onto Korath's defiant eyes. "It's over, Korath," she said, her voice cold and unyielding. "Surrender, and we'll spare your lives." Korath bared his teeth in a snarl, but he knew he was beaten. He dropped his weapon, and Lurka followed suit. "We surrender!" he growled, his pride wounded. Mitchell signaled for her team to secure the prisoners. "Good choice. Now let's get these civilians to safety." As the HSOU forces escorted the Zenthari prisoners and freed the captured villagers, a sense of relief washed over Theron Vive. The immediate threat had been neutralized, but the impact of the battle would resonate far beyond the planet's borders. News of the HSOU's victory spread quickly throughout the galaxy, bolstering the reputation of human special operations forces. The Zenthari marauders, once feared for their ruthlessness, had been brought to their knees by the strategic prowess and relentless determination of the human soldiers. In the aftermath of the battle, Captain Mitchell and her team received commendations for their bravery and effectiveness. But for Mitchell, the true reward was seeing the gratitude and hope in the eyes of the Theronian villagers they had saved. As the dust settled on Theron 5, the galaxy took note. Human special operations units were not to be underestimated. Their presence alone was enough to make even the most hardened mercenaries think twice before challenging the might of humanity. Thus ended the first chapter of Alien Mercenaries Refused to Fight when they saw human special ops units. The journey was only beginning, with new challenges and discoveries awaiting them in the chapters to come. The aftermath of the battle on Theron 5 left a palpable sense of achievement among the Human Special Operations Units, HSOU. The Zenthari Marauders' defeat had not only secured a crucial victory for the United Earth Alliance, UEA, but also sent a clear message across the galaxy. Humanity's elite forces were a force to be reckoned with. Back at the Galaxian Nexus, Captain Sarah Mitchell and her team were hailed as heroes. The once bustling corridors of the space station now buzzed with admiration and respect for the HSOU. However, amidst the celebrations, the team remained focused on the next potential threat. They knew that their success would not go unnoticed by other hostile factions. In the command center, Admiral Jonathan Blake addressed the team. His tone was both congratulatory and cautionary. "You've done an outstanding job on Theron Vive, but we cannot rest on our laurels. Intelligence reports indicate that the defeat of the Zenthari has drawn the attention of other mercenary groups, particularly the Skarn Syndicate." The Skarn Syndicate was a notorious alliance of mercenaries and warlords, known for their advanced technology and brutal tactics. Led by the cunning and ruthless Korvac, the Skarn had a reputation for targeting strategic UEA outposts and colonies. "Our latest intel suggests that the Skarn Syndicate is planning an assault on Epsilon Eridani 4, Admiral Blake continued. "This colony is vital to our defense network and home to millions of civilians. We need to act swiftly and decisively." Captain Mitchell, ever the strategist, immediately began formulating a plan. "We'll need to fortify the colony's defenses and prepare for an immediate counteroffensive. The Skarn won't expect a preemptive strike." Lieutenant Jake Harris and Elena Vasquez, Mitchell's trusted lieutenants, nodded in agreement. Harris, known for his tactical acumen, added, "We should deploy our reconnaissance drones to monitor their movements and identify key targets. Speed and precision will be crucial." With the plan set, the HSOU prepared for their deployment. The team boarded their dropship, the Intrepid, and set course for Epsilon Eridani 4. The journey through hyperspace was filled with anticipation and determination. The stakes were higher than ever, and the team knew they were about to face one of their toughest challenges yet. Upon arrival, the HSOU quickly established their base of operations. The colony's governor, Elena Rosas, briefed them on the situation. "The Skarn have been probing our defenses for weeks. Our scouts report increased activity in the northern mountain ranges. If they launch a full-scale assault, we won't be able to hold them off for long," Captain Mitchell reassured Governor Rosas. "We're here to make sure that doesn't happen. We'll fortify your defenses and take the fight to them." The HSOU deployed drones and surveillance systems to gather real-time intelligence on the Skarn's movements. They fortified the colony's perimeter with automated turrets, energy shields, and defensive barricades. The colony's civilian population was evacuated to secure shelters, minimizing potential casualties. As night fell, the first signs of the Skarn assault appeared on the horizon. The sky lit up with the glow of their warships, casting an ominous light over the landscape. The HSOU soldiers took their positions, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and resolve. "Here they come," Lieutenant Vasquez muttered, her eyes fixed on the approaching enemy. "This is it." The battle began with a ferocity that took even the seasoned HSOU soldiers by surprise. The Skarn forces unleashed a barrage of advanced weaponry, their tactics ruthless and unrelenting. Explosions rocked the ground, and the night was filled with the sounds of battle. Captain Mitchell led her troops with precision and bravery, coordinating their efforts to repel the attackers. The HSOU's advanced technology and combat training proved invaluable as they held their ground against the overwhelming odds. In the midst of the chaos, Mitchell received a distress call from one of the civilian shelters. A group of Skarn soldiers had breached the perimeter and were threatening the lives of hundreds of innocents. "Mitchell to Bravo team, we need to secure the civilian shelter immediately," she ordered, her voice filled with urgency. "We can't let them harm those people." Lieutenant Harris and a squad of HSOU soldiers moved swiftly to intercept the Skarn intruders. The ensuing firefight was brutal, but the humans fought with unwavering resolve. Using their superior tactics and technology, they managed to drive the attackers back and secure the shelter. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the Skarn were not simply after territory. They aimed to break the spirit of the UEA and its allies. Their relentless assault pushed the HSOU to their limits, but Mitchell and her team refused to give in. In a daring counteroffensive, the HSOU launched a coordinated strike on the Skarn command center. Using intelligence gathered from captured enemy soldiers, they pinpointed the location and devised a plan to neutralize it. The operation was a masterclass in tactical execution. Under the cover of darkness, the HSOU infiltrated the enemy base, moving with the stealth and precision of predators. They planted explosives on key structures and disabled critical systems, causing chaos and confusion among the Skarn forces. Captain Mitchell personally led the final assault on the enemy command center. With her pulse rifle at the ready, she moved through the corridors with deadly efficiency, taking down any Skarn soldier who crossed her path. Finally, she reached the central control room, where she confronted the Skarn leader, Korvac, a towering figure with a fearsome reputation. Korvac sneered as he faced Mitchell, his eyes filled with contempt. "You humans think you can defeat us?" Korvac growled. "You are weak and pathetic." Mitchell's gaze was steely as she replied, "We are stronger than you think, and we will never stop fighting for our people." The ensuing battle was intense and brutal, but Mitchell's training and determination gave her the edge. She outmaneuvered Korvac, delivering a series of precise and powerful strikes that brought the mighty warlord to his knees. As Korvac fell, the remaining Skarn forces began to falter. The HSU pressed their advantage, driving the attackers back and securing the colony. The once terrifying Skarn syndicate was now in full retreat, their morale shattered by the ferocity and effectiveness of the human defenders. As the smoke cleared and the battle subsided, the colony's inhabitants emerged from their shelters, cheering and applauding their saviors. Captain Mitchell and her team received heartfelt thanks from the colony's leaders, who were grateful for their swift and decisive action. "Thank you for saving us," Governor Rosas said, her voice filled with emotion. "We owe you our lives." Mitchell smiled, shaking the governor's hand. "Just doing our job, ma'am. We're here to protect and serve." Back on the Galaxian Nexus, the victory at Epsilon Eridani 4 was celebrated as another triumph for the HSOU. The news spread quickly, further solidifying humanity's reputation as a formidable force in the galaxy. Admiral Blake, once again addressing the Council, praised the HSOU's performance. "The defeat of the Skarn Syndicate is a testament to the strength, courage, and ingenuity of our Special Operations units. They have proven time and again that they are capable of facing any threat and emerging victorious." Councillor Vorn, who had initially been skeptical of the HSOU's capabilities, now stood in support. "The bravery and effectiveness of these soldiers cannot be denied. They have not only protected our colonies, but have also strengthened our alliances with other species. We must continue to support and invest in their efforts." As the council members voiced their agreement, Captain Mitchell and her team received commendations for their valor and skill. But for Mitchell, the true reward was knowing that they had made a difference and safeguarded the lives of countless innocents. In the aftermath of their victories, the HSOU continued to train and prepare for future missions. The galaxy was vast and filled with potential threats, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Captain Mitchell stood on the observation deck of the Galaxian Nexus, looking out at the stars, she felt a deep sense of pride and purpose. They had shown the galaxy what humans were capable of, and they would continue to defend their home and allies with unwavering determination. The victory at Epsilon Eridani 4 had cemented the reputation of the Human Special Operations Units, HSOU, as an unstoppable force. However, with their growing fame came the attention of even more dangerous adversaries. Among these was the Riyo Consortium, a shadowy alliance of mercenaries, assassins, and rogue AI that thrived on chaos and discord. The Riyo Consortium was led by Overseer Zalox, a cunning and enigmatic figure shrouded in mystery. Zalox was known for his strategic genius and his ability to manipulate both technology and people to achieve his goals. Under his leadership, the Consortium had executed numerous high-profile attacks and sabotage missions, making them a significant threat to the United Earth Alliance, UEA. The UEA had received intelligence that the Riyo Consortium was planning an audacious attack on the vital space station Argos Prime, a hub for interstellar trade and diplomacy. Argos Prime was not only a strategic asset, but also a symbol of unity and cooperation among the various species in the galaxy. Its fall would be a devastating blow to the UEA and its allies. Admiral Jonathan Blake summoned Captain Sarah Mitchell and her team to the command center on the Galaxian Nexus. The atmosphere was tense, and the stakes were higher than ever. "Captain Mitchell, our intelligence indicates that the Riyo Consortium is planning to attack Argos Prime within the next 48 hours, Admiral Blake said, his voice filled with urgency. "We cannot allow them to succeed. Your mission is to infiltrate their base of operations, gather intelligence, and neutralize the threat before they can launch their attack." Mitchell nodded, her expression resolute. "Understood, Admiral. We'll need all the information we can get on their defenses and any known weaknesses." Admiral Blake handed her a datapad containing the latest intelligence reports. "Our spies have identified several key targets within the Consortium's base. Your primary objective is to locate and eliminate Overseer Zalox. Without his leadership, the Consortium will be in disarray." Lieutenant Jake Harris and Elena Vasquez, Mitchell's trusted lieutenants, reviewed the data alongside her. Harris, with his strategic mind, quickly identified potential entry points and weaknesses in the Consortium's defenses. Vasquez, an expert in covert operations, outlined the infiltration plan. "We'll approach from the east," Vasquez suggested, pointing to a less fortified section of the base. "It looks like their defenses are weakest there. Once inside, we'll split into two teams, one to gather intelligence and the other to locate and eliminate Zalox." The team prepared for their mission with meticulous precision. Every detail was considered, every contingency planned for. They knew that failure was not an option. As they boarded their stealth dropship, the Shadow Viper, Mitchell addressed her team. "This mission is critical. Argos Prime is counting on us. Trust in your training and in each other. Let's get this done." The Shadow Viper's advanced cloaking technology allowed it to approach the Riyo Consortium's base undetected. The base was located on a desolate moon, its surface scarred by craters and ravines. The Consortium had constructed a sprawling underground complex, protected by an array of automated defenses and heavily armed guards. The HSOU soldiers moved with the precision and silence of predators, bypassing security systems and neutralizing guards with swift, lethal efficiency. Inside the complex, the atmosphere was tense, the air thick with the hum of machinery and the distant echo of footsteps. Mitchell led the first team, focused on locating and eliminating Zalox. Harris and Vasquez led the second team, tasked with gathering intelligence and sabotaging the Consortium's operations. As Mitchell's team navigated the labyrinthine corridors, they encountered fierce resistance. The Consortium soldiers were well-trained and heavily armed, but they were no match for the HSOU's superior tactics and technology. Finally, they reached the central command chamber where Overseer Zalox awaited. The room was filled with holographic displays and advanced control panels, the heart of the Consortium's operations. Zalox stood at the center, a tall, imposing figure clad in dark, flowing robes. His eyes glinted with intelligence and malice. "So, the famed human special operations units have come to play," Zalox said, his voice a low, menacing purr. "I must admit, I'm impressed by your tenacity." Mitchell raised her pulse rifle, her gaze unwavering. "It's over, Zalox. Surrender now, and we'll make this quick." Zalox laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the chamber. "Surrender? I'm afraid that's not an option." With a flick of his wrist, Zalox activated a series of defense drones that sprang to life, their weapons trained on the HSOU soldiers. The room erupted into chaos as the drones opened fire, and Mitchell's team scrambled for cover. The battle was fierce and relentless. Mitchell and her soldiers fought with everything they had, their advanced weaponry and combat training pushing them to their limits. Despite the overwhelming odds, they pressed forward, determined to take down Zalox. In the midst of the firefight, Mitchell spotted an opportunity. She signaled her team to cover her as she made her way towards Zalox, dodging drone fire and taking out enemies with precise, calculated shots. Reaching Zalox, Mitchell engaged him in close combat. The Overseer was a formidable opponent, his movements swift and deadly. But Mitchell's training and determination gave her the edge. After a brutal exchange of blows, she managed to disarm him and deliver a decisive strike that brought him to his knees. As Zalox fell, the remaining drones and soldiers faltered, their morale shattered by the loss of their leader. The HSOU quickly secured the chamber and disabled the base's defenses. Meanwhile, Harris and Vasquez's team had successfully gathered critical intelligence and sabotaged key systems within the base. They rejoined Mitchell's team, their mission accomplished. With Zalox captured and the Riyo Consortium's base in disarray, the HSOU made their way back to the Shadow Viper. As they lifted off, they transmitted the intelligence they had gathered to the UEA command, providing invaluable information that would help dismantle the Consortium's operations across the galaxy. Back at the Galaxian Nexus, the team was hailed as heroes once more. Admiral Blake commended them for their bravery and skill, emphasizing the importance of their mission. "You've not only saved Argos Prime, but also dealt a significant blow to one of the most dangerous threats we've ever faced. Your actions have made the galaxy a safer place." Counselor Vorn, now a staunch supporter of the HSOU, praised their efforts. "The effectiveness and courage of our special operations units are unparalleled. We must continue to support and invest in their missions to ensure the safety and security of our alliance." As the council members voiced their agreement, Captain Mitchell and her team received commendations for their valor and skill. But for Mitchell, the true reward was knowing that they had made a difference and safeguarded the lives of countless innocents. In the aftermath of their victories, the HSOU continued to train and prepare for future missions. The galaxy was vast and filled with potential threats, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Standing on the observation deck of the Galaxian Nexus, Mitchell looked out at the stars, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. "We've shown the galaxy what humans are capable of," she said, her voice filled with determination. "And we'll continue to defend our home and our allies with everything we've got." Lieutenant Harris nodded, standing by her side. "No matter what comes our way, we'll be ready." The story of alien mercenaries refused to fight when they saw human special ops units was one of bravery, resilience, and the enduring spirit of humanity. The HSOU had proven that they were a force to be reckoned with, and their legacy would inspire future generations to stand strong against any threat.